Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot. Now, I've made a lot of videos over the years, and a lot of them are where I show decks that I love and, my favorite versions of decks, my favorite reasons why I like them, and things like that. But I've never made a video about the opposite, where I share decks that I don't exactly love. I don't want to say I hate them because that's not true. There's a reason that I enjoy them, and they're very beautiful, but it's just there's something about them that I don't feel like they're maybe up to par as other decks, or I'm just not able to read with them. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today, is decks I want to love, but for one reason or another, I just don't. Let's start with the two most disappointing decks I have ever come across. The Star Trek Next Generation Tarot and the Fallout Tarot. Fallout is so freaking popular these days. Amazon Prime made the TV show about it, and that is a fantastic TV show. Now, there's a lot of shows made out of video games and stuff out there. Halo did one, and it's not bad, but it's not as great as it could be, I feel. But the Fallout was just fantastic. The way they did it, it was almost as if you were playing the game. Now, when it comes to the Fallout Tarot, though, it leaves so much, you wanting so much. It's missing so much of what made Fallout fantastic. I'll just give you a little look at the cards and the illustrations. Now, I have done an unboxing of this deck in a different video, and I've also made a video about Inside Edition decks, just how they're not great, and it's been years since I made that video, and I will say the Inside Edition decks today are so much better. The Major Arcana, that ogre right there, perfectly fine. The Major Arcana in this deck is, just great. I have no issue with it. This is my issue. The Two of Sense, it's really good there, but another issue I have with it is Sense. Sense, I can't really pronounce that, but that kind of thing there, you don't know if this is the Wand suit, the Sword suit, the Pentacle suit, or the Cup suit. I'm going to think that it's the Sense suit, but you don't know for sure. There is the Eight of Muskets. Maybe Wands, but that's the thing about it. You don't know exactly. It's not intuitive at all. And it's just a picture of guns. The Fool, again, this is perfect. It's a wonderful illustration. And again, our Major Arcana is very, very detailed and perfect, because that Fool there, that's, if you watch the Fallout TV show, that Fool is the girl that walks out and starts this new adventure, meeting people along the way, trying to find her father. I forgot her name off the top of my head. I think her real name is Ella, so there's that. But, the Major Arcana is fine. The Minor Arcana is what I have an issue with. The Two of Lanterns, the Three of Lanterns, most obviously likely would be the Suit of Wands. And the court cards, they're perfectly fine too. They're different characters. I almost flipped that one right side up, but no, that's the Hanged Man. But it's the Minor Arcana of these decks. That Death card is so cute. But it's the Minor Arcana that I have an issue with. One, they changed the names of the cards, the suits and stuff, so it's really difficult to decide which one it is. And the Lovers here, very interesting illustration. It's love proceeds or even goes on even after death, because there he is looking at the grave of his lost love. But that's my issue with this deck. See the swords? Those might be the swords, most likely would be the swords, because they're actually swords. But there's not a lot to go with intuitively. There's not a lot to share, that gives that exciting thing that you can point out and just be like, this is what this means. So there's the character we all know and love from the show. Yeah, the ghoul that is still kind of knowledgeable and stuff, and not completely vampire-ish, just wanting, whatever people can give to him, blood and things like that. But that's my biggest issue with this deck, is definitely the Minor Arcana. And I'm gonna flip through here and get through all the cards. This isn't about seeing all the different illustrations in this deck per se. This is me, well, in all honesty, complaining that it could be better, because I've never made a video like this before. And like I said, I've got another one from Inside Editions that I will share with you as well that might be even more disappointing than this one. If Inside Editions were to make another one, learn from the story and stuff, take ideas and stuff from the television show as well, they could remake this deck and make it so much better, because I mean, it has great potential, and the world of Fallout is so full of different ideas and different things that you absolutely could create something even better, like have the minor arcana show up and be more impressive than that ever was. Now, the second one that I have to share with you, again, Insight Editions, Star Trek The Next Generation. Now, when it comes to Star Trek, there is, like, the universe of Star Trek. This is just one of the television shows. The universe of Star Trek is endless. Like, they've been making television shows about this, about the people that are met inside of the universe, like that they go out and meet the different species and everything. And it's like one of the most incredible shows because there's so much you can do with it. I think they said Gene Roddenberry, he when he made it, he was trying to make Wagon Train in space. And Wagon Train was like a really, really, like one of the original Western shows, you know, like Gunsmoke, Ponderosa, things like that. And he did exactly that because it's not about war. It's not about fighting or anything. There is like war and there is fighting in it, but it's all about the connections that these different species have with one another. And it's incredible. And when it comes to making a tarot deck, oh my gosh, you're so able to, there's so much to do. Like, I could personally, I'm a Star Trekkie, definitely. I could make a tarot deck that would just blow you out of the park. Because every character, like in that show, could represent a different one of the 78 cards. There, the Chariot on the top, this makes complete sense because this is the Chariot of the show. Of the Star Trek Next Generation, I think it's the Enterprise, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But you know, that makes sense. Does this card make sense? It's Latinum, so it most likely would be Pentacles, but again, there's 7 pieces of Latinum. Does that tell you to have patience with what you're working on? Does the weapons from the Klingons, does that tell you, I think this is the sword suit, so does this tell you to be fearful and lying awake at night worrying about what the future's going to hold? Like, each one of these is just so disappointing. Like, I think I actually unboxed this deck. I don't know if I actually showed it on camera, but I almost cried a little bit because I spent money on this and it is hands down the most disappointing thing I've ever, well, I'm sure there's other things that are disappointing too, but it's probably the most disappointing tarot deck I have ever met. Like, there, Crusher as the Empress, you know, she's the only one with the kids, so that makes sense. But the major arcana, again, perfectly fine. Gaia, I think that is her name in the show. Whoopi Goldberg's character, the bartender who was like thousands of years old. Again, Wheel of Fortune makes sense. You've got the court cards. It's all characters. It makes sense if you know the story and everything. And at least it gives you something to think about. That page, you know, he wants that money. He wants that Latinum. That 5 of Latinum right there, if this is the Pentacle suit, how does that tell you that you're worried about finances? Each one of these, like minor arcana cards, other than the court, are just the most disappointing thing you'll ever see. The major arcana, on the other hand, and the court cards, at least they give you something to look at. As I go through this deck, like, it's just, again, like, there's the 4 of starships. What do you have? 4 starships. That was the illustration in the Chariot. They should have just left it at that because there is no intuitive thought about that illustration at all. The Emperor is Riker, makes total sense. The evil twin of Data makes sense for the Devil. Judgment is Q, again, makes total sense. The Ace of Starships, maybe, I guess, it could make sense, but again, it's just a starship. We had that as the Chariot. Page of Batless is the Klingons, or Worf's son, I believe. That's cute, that's fine. At least it gives you an illustration. The Ace of Batless, I think they're called, again, not much to go with. Each one of these is just, other than the pictures that you see of the characters, it's just the most disappointing deck I've ever met in my entire life. The world and the universe of Star Trek, every single series that is there, and there are tons. I'm not going to list them off. I'll say the very beginning one with William Shatner with, you know, the original Star Trek show. You know, that was the first, and the most recent one that came up, I think they're only making 2 seasons of it, Starfleet Academy, that's set in the year 3000. From there to from the 60s show to the modern one of 2026, think of the tarot deck that could be created if someone was willing to take the time and take every single one of the characters instead of just making the minor arcana and those, what is it, without, it's like 36 cards, I think, something like that, of the minor arcana that just aren't up to par, aren't great at all, and you can't even like think intuitively about it since you don't even know what the suits are really without looking at the guidebook. You're not going to want to sit at a Star Trek convention and read the tarot with this unless you've taken the time, or do what I do sometimes and make a post-it and stick it in the box with it that has, like, you know, the suit of swords is the batless and the suit of starships is like equals this suit, that kind of thing. But those, you know, I made a video a long time ago about the disappointment of the Insight editions, but when I was making this video, I was like, yeah, these have to be included because I want to love them. I truly do. I love the series. I love both of these. I've spent hours of my life playing Fallout, the video game, and just enjoying that wasteland. But when it comes to enjoying these decks made by Insight Editions, I can't bring myself to love and enjoy them at all. Okay, moving forward, there's another deck that I want to share that I want to love. I truly, truly want to love, and I do love it in a way because of the history that it represents. This is the Sola Busca Tarot, the tarot masterpiece of Italian Renaissance. Now, this deck is a collector's dream. I mean, it even says museum quality up there because it's set. I mean, this deck was originally illustrated and created back in the, I want to say the 13th century, or the 14th century, that's it, 14th century, and I believe it was, don't quote me on this, it's either 1491 or 1493, because I always remember it by the saying of 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and it's either the year before or the year after, so, you know, that same time period, and the illustrations in these are incredible, like, there's the back, too, and the quality of this deck, it's fantastic. Now, here is my issue with it. There is that illustration. This is clearly the Three of Swords, and it's the inspiration that Pamela Coleman Smith likely used for the Rider-Waite-Smith when she created it back in 1909. But that's where it changes. You see these illustrations right here? I have no idea whatsoever that 99% of this deck even is. Now, now that I know that this is the Three of Swords, I can assume that this is another member of the Swords. And some of these, like the major arcana, have those numbers. So this could very much be the Empress. But does the illustration make sense for the Empress? That one very much makes sense for the Chariot. So like I said, there are a few here. And with the numbers and stuff, you can kind of get an idea of what some of them are. But for the most part, no, they're just beautiful pictures, beautiful illustrations. Now, you know, tarot readers read through intuition. The more you read, the better you get at it and things. So you could take these illustrations and do a fantastic reading about it. But I honestly, maybe some out there really know how to do it, how to know, like memorize what each and every one of these illustrations, which cards they represent. But I personally, I can't do it. Like, I want to say that's the Queen of Cups, but she's got a stick, so is she the Queen of Wands? And it's got a DP down there, so this might be, like, I think a lot of these illustrations of the people and things are real people throughout history, so that makes it awesome. It's such a fantastic piece of history. There's that 13, so she is very much a queen because queens represent the 13, and that might be the Queen of Wands. It might be the Queen of Swords. I have no idea. The way that I read with this deck, and there is no way that I could do this for like a client or anything because it's, well, I'm using my phone to make the video and I can't really watch the video as I do it. But when I did an unboxing of this deck, I actually did the unboxing with a side-by-side comparison with the Rider-Waite-Smith. And when I did the unboxing, obviously, like the cards weren't shuffled or anything, so they were all in order. So when I do readings with this deck, like when I do my daily readings and everything, I actually go back and I watch that video and I see which one of the Rider-Waite-Smith cards is sitting next to this card, like sitting next to it in the video. So I'll know which illustrations go with which card. And again, I want to love this deck. I really, really do. And part of me does because it's such an amazing, incredible piece of history that the illustrations just, they remind you of the ones that came before us. It's incredible in its beauty, but it is not one that I am ever going to be comfortable reading with for others with. It will be one that I add to my collection. I mean, it's already in my collection, and I will love it and, you know, enjoy having it, and I'll share it once in a while. But reading it, being able to intuitively read this deck, it's just not going to happen. I do really love the illustrations though, the artwork and everything. That's weird that one's in the middle, but yeah. You can see all those different illustrations, and it's a deck, like the quality of the deck is really, really good. And the quality of the Inside Editions decks, they're fantastic too. But these decks just, they leave you wanting something more. They leave you just, well, they leave me personally a little bit disappointed. Now, I don't know if there's other people like making decks like this and stuff. I don't know if it's something that you want to make a hashtag or something about, and, you know, share your own decks that, you know, just leave something to the mind, leave something you just waiting for that you didn't actually get. Now, I will say, with the Inside Edition decks, the guidebooks in these decks will at least tell you which card is which. Like, you can see in here, if I look at it really close, you've got the illustration right there, so you know that's the Magician. Let's get to the Minor Arcana. Yeah, so we have the Three of Muskets right there, so you know which card represents. And even in this guidebook, it will tell you which suit is which suit. Or, yeah, like if the muskets are the swords or the muskets are the wands and stuff. And it's the same with the Star Trek one, too. Sola Busca, on the other hand, this guidebook does have information in it, but the issue is there's not a single illustration in it whatsoever. And, like, it's one of those scare buffs, so they do them in different languages too, so there's not a lot to like learn from. There you have the information there, but there's no illustration to tell you which card is which, or which illustration is which card in the deck. So those are the tarot cards that I have that I just, you know, don't exactly love. There is one more tarot deck that I want to share with you, and the disappointment in this deck is it's completely different, 100% different than the disappointment in the other ones I share with you, because this deck is hands down one of the most adorable, coolest decks that I have in my collection. I want to love this deck more than I want to love any deck that I don't love, because, I mean, the illustrations are just so much fun. I'll flip through it and I'll show you the different ones. I mean, even like look at the the box. The box is so cute with the little guidebook right there, and you've even got like little recipe, little sheets right there and everything. So the deck, the way they set it up and everything, the way that they did it, I do love it. I do love just the cuteness, the randomness of this deck. It's one of my favorites, but there's something about it that I cannot stand. I wish they hadn't done it. I don't know why they did it, and it's just, it bugs me so badly. It's, oh, I gotta find the 3 cards again. Now I can't find them. And it has something to do with these 3 cards of the Major Arcana right here. You know how the Major Arcana goes. After the Magician comes the High Priestess. But not in this deck. No, the High Priestess is a strong foundation card where the Emperor should be. Still, it's an adorable illustration. I love it. It's so cute. It even says, the mysteries of the universe are sweeter than you know with grade A butter. Like, how adorable is that? But the High Priestess was never meant to be card 4. She rests in the Rider-Waite-Smith between 2 pillars. 2 being the number right there. Kindness, compassion, empathy, thought process, choices, balance, and intuition. That is not the energy of 4, the number of the strong foundation. That is the energy of the Emperor. He's the strong foundation. Having all those cans of food and stuff, you definitely feel like you're strong. You have that you know, safety and everything, that you go into that cupboard, you don't know what to eat at night. You're covered. There's the sloppy joes. There's the tomatoes with evaporated milk. The beans, the peas, the vegetable oil, the whatever that is. And like, you know, you see it, like the peanut butter and stuff. That's a strong foundation. That's not the creation number. I mean, yeah, you're creating food with it, so that makes sense. But, you know, changing the Emperor to 3, changing the Empress to 2. 2 is the number, again, of the High Priestess. The Empress is creativity and creation itself. Yeah, she's creating something, but why did we change the numbers there? This deck, I didn't know this when I got it. I didn't look into it to see that, but when I saw that, like, that is one of the most disappointing and strangest things I've ever seen in a deck. Now, those are the only complaints I have about the Housewives Tarot, is the fact that they've changed the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Emperor to be different numbers. That seriously bothers me that much, because I'm one of those people that when it comes to reading tarot, I love using the numerology aspects. That's one of the ways that I've learned. I think that's one of the easiest ways to learn, is to use the numbers. But when you have decks like this that want to change the numbers, you've lost that ability to connect them to other tarot decks. But the other illustrations in this deck, I have absolutely no problem with them. Like, the suits there, I love the fact that, like, the Pentacles is the green border, the Cups is the blue border, and I mean, it says Cups, it says Pentacles, so it does very much, it's very intuitive. It's just I have that issue with that. Like, how cute is that Temperance card? That Temperance, like, shows putting all of those things together, you know, taking that, what does that word say? Sorrow, taking that joy, justice, and anger, and putting it all together and creating something new from it. The Chariot is a car, and there's the tarot word, there's gain, there's choice, there's risk right there. You know, you're taking a chance. All of these illustrations in this deck are just so entertaining, so cute, and so fun. And I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. It would be one of my favorite decks if they hadn't changed the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Emperor's numbers. Like, how cute is that Fool? How cute is that Hangman? The Six of Pentacles. Like, this deck is absolutely adorable. Like, how many of us watch television and that's where we get our knowledge from? There's the Tower with, like, the gelatin thing. Like, it's funny, it's adorable, it's weird. The egg that is the sun. I think the major arcana is much cuter than the minor arcana, but the minor arcana, there's still a lot to appreciate. Like, they're celebrating Christmas, the Nine of Cups. You know, he made her wishes come true. That's makes sense for that illustration. The Knight of Swords, the one that's not afraid of chaos, this James Dean looking character on his motorcycle, makes total sense for that. The World, you know, there's all those recipes and stuff that can help you make a successful life. The Knight of Pentacles, he's hard at work, like with his lawnmower and stuff. That's not something fun, that's just something you have to do. So all of these illustrations, you know, of all the illustrations that I've shared with you today, you know, they're definitely easy to read with. Strength there with the Brillo pads and everything. Brillo pads, really, they're called Scrubbo soap pads here, but those kind of things, they could get anything off. So they're definitely strong. The Three of Wands there, you know, she's passionate. She's like, look how good my house looks. And then it's inspiring you to make your house look good too. The Hermit, she's enjoying that alone time in that bathtub right there. You know, that's definitely a hermit energy. The Ten of Swords, it feels like everybody's stabbing you and wanting a piece of you in that pincushion. Again, makes total sense. The Page of Swords, adorable little illustration there. Don't run with scissors, but he's definitely doing that. Useful information, don't run with scissors. See, you can use that. You can make it funny. You can use this deck to read for other people, and it's really easy, really comical, and really whimsical. But I won't do it because of these cards over here. I mean, I can, and if you really wanted me to, I guess I'd have to, and I can do it, but it's gonna bug me so badly that High Priestess is the number 4. I guess one could argue that the High Priestess being number 4 is, you know, having that strong intuition gives you a strong foundation, I suppose. And with the Empress being 2 right there, you know, if you trust your intuition and you're kind to yourself, you can create more. And the 3 with the Emperor, you know, if you have that strong foundation, you can start creating with it. So I guess it is doable, but it completely goes against everything that I hold dearly about the tarot. Like, this deck, I think it's at the top of my list for decks that I want to love, and I just can't. It bugs me that badly. But I'm going to still show you all the different illustrations because it's an absolutely adorable deck. And I haven't even gotten to my favorite. There we are. This is my favorite illustration in this entire deck. The Devil is a very, very attractive woman with legs, you know, really hot, sexy legs there. And you've got all these different things right there. Word Vice right there. You have Valium on that bottle right there. ready cheese, so it's like easy cheese right there. Coffee, you know, we're talking about all those vices. And the devil herself, there is a devil's food cake. Like, it's perfection. It's awesome. I love that card. So I do really love this deck to an extent. There's the magician, you know, selling that washing machine. There's the plate of the Ace of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, this happy family, you know. Happy family gets drunk. You know, this is based in, I think, the 60s or so, so it's really cute. But like, look at the death card. Well, I'm losing my pile here. Whoop. It's okay. We're just gonna let it go. The death card here is Salmonella. That makes total sense for the death, and there it's 13. So we haven't changed any other members of the major arcana. They've all stayed the same, except for these 3 cards over here. The Wheel of Fortune is still 10. The minor arcana is still the minor arcana. We haven't changed that at all. I really do want to love this deck. Maybe I should like go through and just kind of cross them out, or put a little piece of tape that says the actual numbers there, because really that is 100% the reason I just can't bring myself to love this deck. But that doesn't mean that this deck isn't worth having. This deck is one of the cutest decks in my collection. I think it's such a cool idea. And it looks a lot like the Zombie Tarot too. And the Zombie Tarot, that's created by the same people, because the box, the cards, the illustrations and everything, they have very similar qualities. But they didn't change the High Priestess. They didn't change the Empress or the Emperor. So that deck kind of sits higher than this deck. Now the last deck I'm going to share with you, and then I'll send you on your way, is not a tarot deck at all. It is the I Ching. This is an oracle, advice, and self-help. And when it comes to oracle decks, you know, they are incredible. They have the guidebooks, and this deck is no different. It has the guidebook right here, and you have the different illustrations and stuff. So it's a cool deck, but it's one that I've never been able to just confidently read with, because I have to use the guidebook with everything. I found it at like a local bookstore for like, I think it was like $8 when I first found it. And this is like what I love to do. I love, love, love learning different forms of divination. And this is no different. But I have no idea what these illustrations are. As I look through it, it's a very interesting, very cool deck. And it reminds you, it's kind of like the Sola Busca in the fact that this is an ancient form of divination. It's Chinese, I believe. So the I Ching has been around for like at least 3,000 years, and it's very intuitive. It's very future telling and stuff like that. They use this all the time back in the day. Like, when I say back in the day, I mean like 3,000 years ago. So like the year 1000 BC or something like that. And maybe, you know, they grew up knowing what these different symbols would be. Why do I have a blank card in there? I don't know. But it stays with the deck because it came with the deck. But you see, like, it's just, there's really nothing, unless you use the guidebook, to give you very much information. Now this one, like, I mean, the illustrations there are some things to it. It's very beautiful, that the way that it's done, and I'm not disappointed in it. There's another blank card. But I'm not disappointed in it per se. I'm just kind of admitting my own flaw here, that I can't for the life of me. Now we're up to 3 blank cards. 4. But it's the life of me. I don't know, like, just how to memorize this, how to learn this, how to read with it. They even, like, I have the coins too of the I Ching, and like, they sit on my desk. They're with my other forms of divination, and I don't know. I don't know how to read with them. I even have the book and stuff, and I tried to read it, and it's not working for me. So I guess this video is also me talking about how I'm not the greatest, like, intuitive reader out there that can, like, there's probably somebody out there that sees this and immediately knows what the illustrations and everything are, but that is not me. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy looking through it, and I don't enjoy it at all. It just means there's something about it, like, I can't get myself to really truly enjoy the illustrations and be able to read with it. But hey, I'm a tarot collector. We have 4 different blank cards there for whatever reason. Maybe the guidebook says what it is. But, you know, tarot I can read with. And someone told me once that if you can read with one deck, you can read with any deck. Now, that is true to a point. I mean, if you have a deck that has, like, the minor arcana and all has the same, or makes sense at least with the names of it, then you absolutely can read with it, like, for anything. And even if the person that you're reading for doesn't really see the, like, the illustration, it doesn't speak to them. Now, like I said, the Housewives Tarot right here and the Sola Busca, it wasn't the fact that it wasn't illustrated, because it absolutely was. It was just, this one was the numbering of the High Priestess, Empress, and the Emperor, and this one was me not having a clue of which card was which. Now, the Fallout Tarot, really disappointing. The Star Trek Tarot, extremely disappointing. Come on, Star Trek, so much you could do with that. And the I Ching is me just admitting that I can't necessarily read with anything or an oracle deck, but the guidebook with this deck, definitely one that really will help with that. Now, I really don't have anything else to share in this video, and I will say, if you want a reading with any of these decks, I'll totally do it. I can do it. I'll probably complain to you again in the reading that I do, that they change those if the cards come up. But if the cards like the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Emperor don't come up at all, then you're not going to hear me complain, because what's the point? But, you know, a reading with any of these decks, if you're interested, I will try to do. That Sola Busca will be a little bit difficult, but I will figure it out. I don't know how, but I will. So, as always, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again in the next one.